So I was really excited to see that new movie that came out, Melania. But unfortunately, I show up to the theater and all the tickets are gone, all the places are taken, the whole thing is packed, so crap. I was so excited for this movie, and unfortunately, I didn't get to see it. So instead, I ended up seeing what was playing in the theater next to it, some stupid shit called Iron Lung. Okay, jokes aside. I remember when Markiplier first played the game version of Iron Lung, and I saw it and I thought it was really boring. I was going honk shoe while watching his playthrough of it. I think there's also a remastered version that he played, but I haven't seen that. Not yet, anyway. I might rewatch the original playthrough. And when I heard that he was doing a movie, I was at first really excited for it. Then I heard that it was going to be based on Iron Lung, and I was like, okay, why that though? Not to like sound mean to Iron Lung, but it's like it is kind of like a dime a dozen. It's he plays a lot of those low polygon indie horror games. Like what made this so special? And what's controversial about both Iron Lung the game and Iron Lung the movie is that it's a premise that's scary if you think about it. The thought of being stuck in a submarine at the bottom of the ocean, slowly losing your air, even at the end of humanity in the future with all the other planets gone, that is something scary to think about. So I was kind of nervous to watch it in theaters. I bought me a hot dog, and the last time I had a hot dog in theaters was exactly 10 years ago in 2016 when I saw Batman vs. Superman, and it was fucking awful. Both the movie and the hot dog. Well, I mean, the hot dog was okay, actually. I didn't hate the hot dog, but the one that I had for Iron Lung was pretty bad. The point is, I was nervous. I was scared it would be a gigantic snooze fest, and I'd be going honk me all over again. Now, thankfully, that didn't happen because I actually ended up really enjoying myself for Iron Lung. People say, oh, well, it's not for everyone, and I suppose that is true, and it shouldn't be for everyone, but also a lot of people say that it's boring, and I feel like there are a lot of criticisms you can make with Iron Lung, but the one that I think isn't really valid is to say that it's boring or to say that nothing ever happens. A premise like this, I feel, it can very easily feel like it's insisting upon itself, but I don't think it doesn't really feel that way. Like I said, it's a premise where you have to kind of think about it for it to become scary, and I think the movie does a much better job actually making you think about it than the game does. At least in my opinion, I didn't play the game, I just watched a playthrough of it, so yeah. The premise is kind of brilliant for a low budget horror film. If this were made by a big studio, I can see a lot of executives going, this is boring. Have more scenes outside the submarine. Show us what the world looks like. And I like how they, for the most part, don't do that. They stick to keeping things claustrophobic, which is really what I wish the FNAF movie did instead of, what it actually did. Even like the whole idea of the fish monster outside the sub kind of like constantly smacking into it, making the whole thing rattle, that all works better if you don't see the monster. So again, the low budget actually helps the movie a lot. Now, is the story confusing? I mean, yeah, I saw it and I feel like I need to watch it again to better understand some of the plot points that happened in there. But for the most part, if you just pay attention, you can figure things out on your own. You can tell what Simon, that's Markiplier's name, you can tell what Simon's backstory is. I like how it doesn't, hold your hand and just spoon feed to you what the entire backstory and lore of this world are. It's like, oh, the last tree died. What does that mean? Well, it means there's no more trees anymore. At the beginning they say all the suns are gone, so yeah, like that it makes sense if you follow along. And going back to the idea that oh, it's boring, it's not boring, it's a slow burn. Like the movie The Lighthouse is a movie where it's supposed to be boring and it's actually fucking boring. And I'm not trying to slam The Lighthouse or anything, but there are several extended whole 5-minute sequences of Robert Pattinson shoveling dirt into a hole. And the idea that's kind of meant to just drive you insane because that's what's happening to him in the movie. And there are no sequences in Iron Lung that feel this way. I feel like it's just them dragging something out for the sake of dragging it out. There are things constantly happening. Simon is constantly doing things. If he's not, tracing on a map, then he's putting out a fire. If he's not putting out a fire, then he's trying not to lose his sanity. Even when it's just him, like, sitting in the room, kind of like freaking out and crying, things are still happening because you're watching him react. You're watching him emote. There's still something to connect to. And the camera is a very active presence in the movie. There's a lot of really unique angles and motions that the camera does. And there's also usually music happening alongside the events. So it really never does feel like it's just sitting there doing nothing. If it was one to one with like the gameplay where it's just him sitting in like a room pulling a lever, just like tracing small little dots on the map, and there's like no music and the camera just sits still like it's 2001 or something, then yeah, I think that's kind of what I was expecting the movie to be, and that would have been really fucking boring. That is kind of what most people who don't like Iron Lung describe Iron Lung as, but it really wasn't that. But now on to things about it that I didn't really like. For one thing, Simon, although I do like Simon, there's a lot of scenes, a lot of moments where he would say a line, and I would think, that's Markiplier. That's just Markiplier saying that. Like, you look at something like In Space with Markiplier, where, yeah, there are some serious emotional moments. A lot of it is him kind of being all goofy and exaggerated and stuff. But, like, for this, where he has to be straight faced, serious the whole time, it just doesn't really work as well. There are also some reveals that could have been done better. Like, they show the X-ray gun and they explain, oh yeah, it's like an X-ray thing very early on in the movie, and it's like, well, we've only seen bones through it, so is that supposed to be a big reveal that the monster isn't really dead? It's like actually still alive and you only saw its bones because the X-ray. I think that's how it is in the games, but like in the movie, it feels just like, okay, so the monster's still alive then. That's so obvious. Why are they just like ignoring the blatant fact that the bones aren't really bones? Or there's like a different scene where he's like hallucinating a voice talking to him, and then he finds the like wire on the radio is broken, and then immediately after the voice calls him Simon, and he's like, I didn't tell you my name was Simon. And it's like, well, shouldn't he be like suspicious of her calling him Simon before he finds out that the radio is broken? Because like, wouldn't that just make more sense? And then also there's kind of like a fake out death like halfway through the movie where he like imagines getting killed by the monster, and like the CGI for this scene just looks so horrendously bad. But maybe it's supposed to look that way, so later when he actually does get killed by the monster, it's more like it looks better. But even that I feel didn't really look that impressive. I don't know. That actually brings me to my next problem is the ending. He gets the like black box or whatever that has the important data that can save humanity, and then recovers it so the rest of the humans can get it. I don't really like that. I feel like giving a kind of hopeful twist to the ending kind of ruins the whole point of Iron Lung. Like, this is humanity's end. This is their doom. Like, why are why are you having like a hopeful, oh well, maybe some more can live on? Like, they shouldn't live on though. This is supposed to be where it stops. This is where it ends. I'm not trying to be like nihilistic or whatever, but like, isn't that like the whole point of the original game? But even if you don't, have the kind of hopeful twist at the end, the ending is basically just he dies and that's it. And I feel like most people going into this who are already familiar with Iron Lung the game probably already knew that's what was going to happen. The only way you could have any doubt that he would survive is if you just didn't really know what the game was about, if you went in completely blind. I like seeing old people's reaction to this, people who don't know about Markiplier or Iron Lung. I like seeing them talk about it. And like, I kind of wish I had their theater going experience of just going in completely blind, not really knowing what the story was going to be about, and being surprised that like, oh, the whole thing's set in the submarine. Something else, this isn't really a criticism, but it's like, is he going insane and hallucinating everything? Or is the monster like actually psychic and it's talking to him? And something that I find really fun is the idea that it's actually both. Like, even though I kind of criticized it earlier, I do like the scene where like he thinks he's talking to a different sub and then finds out that it's actually like the monster or a hallucination or whatever talking to him. That was a very good scene. I just don't really like the way it kind of ended. I also like the reveal that the quote unquote blood was actually giving him air. It's like a small detail you notice that at the same time the blood is leaking into the hull, his air isn't like depleting anymore. It goes down to like the last level and kind of stays like that for most of the movie. It's a very small background thing that you don't really notice till it's pointed out. So I do like that. That was done very well. And my own opinions aside, it is remarkable that like a kind of low budget movie like this can get so big. Like, look, if this movie it was still made by Markiplier and it was still like low budget and everything, and it was still successful, but it sucked, then I would be honest about that. Like, I'm not just gonna pretend it's good because it's indie. Thankfully, though, it actually was good, and I actually did like it. But I am kind of surprised that critics don't like it because I thought critics were supposed to like boring shit. So now something boring came out and like, whatever. And the fact that there was no marketing either, just Markiplier's own word of mouth, is also really crazy. Like that, how do people who don't know Markiplier even know about this movie? I don't know, man. Going to the theater and like seeing the like Iron Lung poster there in the glass hall of posters is such a surreal feeling. When it comes out on digital, I'm gonna show it to my parents and then show them Boat Dog immediately after and go, "That's the same guy." I've heard other people say it's like an 9 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10. I don't know. I might think it's like a 7.6 out of 10, but I feel like I call most things 7 out of 10 anyway. That's why I just don't really use out of 10 scores, but whatever. The thing that I thought to myself upon leaving the theater was that was not a movie, that was a film. I don't know how to end this video.